All right, man. Look, I'm pumped that we get to dive into some college football. It's starting to get that time of year. It's obviously hot as you know what out here in Georgia right now, so we don't really have that chill in the air that we're ready for, but boy, are we ready. I'm ready to fire up, put on the sweatpants, put on the jeans and boots, throw my hoodie on and go outside, drink a couple cold beers and watch the dogs go out there and rout South Carolina like we always do.
Real quick. What's your preferred beer? Let's get a preferred beer going.
No, I mean I'm a Miller Lite guy, but preferred beer. It's in my tier list. Number one, Miller Lite. Number two, the next beer in the cooler.
Oh, now we're talking. Now we're talking. We're on the same page. Miller Lite's the way to go. I'll let you get back to the legit podcast stuff. Go ahead.
Oh man, I mean, I'm super pumped. This is the first time on the podcast we're diving into some college ball, and you can definitely expect to see a lot more of this, especially as we get closer. I mean, you got the NFL season coming up. I mean, in my opinion, football season starts as soon as the Hall of Fame game kicks off. So that's in 2 days, and man, I am pumped. So let's dive into this, man. The SEC. You've kind of seen the hierarchy of the SEC change in recent years, I would say, in my opinion, from Bama running things individually for so long, and UGA. I saw a stat the other day that said from 2009 to 2015, I want to say UGA had an average of like 9.1 wins per season, calculating, prorating that with the COVID year, or not the COVID year, but prorating that with bowl wins, and then from 15 to now, it's like 11 and a half. So you're talking about a team that's in here contending with Bama year after year. I know we're two separate sides of the SEC, and the East is, sadly, much weaker than the West, and it looks like it's probably going to be that way for at least a couple more years. You got some teams that are on the uptrend, so I'm super excited to dive into this and talk about what we're expecting SEC wise. So I'll kick it off. You see my rankings up there on the board on the graphic. SEC East, interesting year. You've got a couple teams that made a couple moves in the offseason, brought in a couple transfers. You've got some recruiting classes that are really starting to step in from years past. You were going to get some serious playing time. Obviously, we're Dogs fans, and whether or not you're a Dog fan, I think you are going to agree that on pretty much everybody's list, if you're going power rankings, the Dogs are going to be your number one. Especially in the East, man. Like I said, it's a little bit weaker, so we can hit on that a little bit and talk about what we've got. But we're returning a lot of players. We lose a couple guys to the draft, but we're bringing back first round draft prospects this year on both sides of the ball. You're talking about bringing a quarterback back in Stetson Bennett, who is super disrespected. I mean, people have been crapping on Stetson for however long, and it's 100% without merit. You talk about a guy that's fourth in air yards last year, second in yards per completion. Stetson is experienced. He knows the offense just about as well as anybody else. I think, going into this season, he's going to be 28 years old, so he's got a little bit of experience. Um, no, man, the Dogs are the clear number one for me, so we'll dive into that later. But number two, I've got Kentucky on my power rankings. This might be a little bit of a hot take, depending on what your views on the SEC East are. But they're bringing it back. They're bringing back in a lot of people's opinions, a top five quarterback in this upcoming year in all of college football, not just the SEC, and Will Levis. Dude's a stud. They've got a great running game. They've got Chris Rodriguez. I'm not too sure what his status is. He's a hometown guy. I know he got into a little bit of a trouble. I want to say a DUI charge back in May or June. So they were talking a little bit about him missing some time, suspension, not getting suspended. I'm not sure. We'll have to keep you updated on that and kind of see. But they lost a lot of guys, specifically the offensive line. Kentucky's a team that has been on the rise here as of late. And we play them last year. We play them every single year, so we get to see them and get super familiar with them. I mean, a guy like Will Levis, even when they're getting routed by Georgia and that Georgia defense, you talk about, arguably the greatest college, football defense, at least in recent years, to my knowledge and to a lot of people. I mean, this dude's stepping up in the pocket. He's delivering throws on time. He's making crazy plays. He's got to be a guy. So I've got Kentucky at number two, pretty much strictly because of him. I think when you have a quarterback like that, he can keep you in a lot of games. At number three, I've got South Carolina. I'm not super high on South Carolina for one reason in particular, and that is Spencer Rattler. You talk about a guy that was projected to be the number one quarterback in college football last year. we can dive into Spencer Rattler as much as you want to. I'm not super high on him for one reason in particular, and it's that Oklahoma situation, man. I mean, Oklahoma is known to be the most quarterback friendly program, at least in the Lincoln Riley area, in probably college football history. You're talking about producing Heisman candidates year after year. And I know you've got some studs in there like Baker and Kyler, and then you bring Jalen Hurts in and he goes off. But to see a guy like Spencer Rattler and as highly touted as he is, and as much as people are talking about him and banging that drum, come in there and struggle and get benched, that just goes to show that I'm not sure this guy really has got a hold on his game from a team perspective. You talk about the arm talent. He's got the arm talent. He's got a cannon attached to that shoulder. He can make every throw. He makes these crazy hot passes, Patrick Mahomes-esque throws. But when you step into that game and you're really getting down to the X's and O's, man, it's he's got a little bit of a fall off for me. So that's why I've got them there in the number 3 spot. And it's a little bit of a debate between them and Tennessee. The only reason I've got Tennessee right here in my number 4 behind South Carolina is because Tennessee is Tennessee. This goes back to how we were just talking about the Mets. Tennessee seems to get hype every single year. You've got players, or not players, but fans coming out this year saying we're going to win 10 games. We're going to win 10 games. Here's the deal, man. They're not going to win 10 games. I think they're over/under set at 7.5, and I think that's about right. You get 8 wins this year, you're going to be happy as a Tennessee fan. I don't think we're going to see any kind of competition from Tennessee pushing up to the top there. So that's the reason I've got them at 4. Hendon Hooker, he's a stud. But Missouri, I've got them at the 5 spot. I've got them there because they had a tremendous recruiting class come in. They've got some guys that are going to ball. Number 6, I've got Florida. The only reason I have Florida at 6 and not 7 is because Vandy's at 7. Vandy is Vandy, and this is a team, man, it's hopeless. It's sad to see. They're talking about restructuring the SEC, and either way you look at it, man, they're going to be just screwed. You can cut that slice of pie any way you want to go, and Vandy's just going to get the short end of the stick as far as the conference goes. So